friends, Ashley here with Crazy Brave Homeschool. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm a homeschooler to a rising third grader and rising kindergartner. And on this channel, I love talking about homeschool. That's all you're gonna find here. So as a lot of you know who have been following our journey, we are definitely eclectic homeschoolers who tend to take more of a Charlotte Mason approach in a lot of our curriculum choices. In this video, I'm going to be talking about language arts again. My last video was about how I am combining Blossom and Root language arts with Build Your Library for our 25-26 school year. And you guys, I have just had language arts on my mind. I have been in deep thought about where our language arts journey is headed, where I would like it to go, what feels realistic for us. Really just kind of looking at my values and priorities for our homeschool, especially in light of the fact that my daughter has struggled a bit with learning to read and learning to write. And language arts has always really been my strong suit. It's my favorite thing to learn, my favorite thing to teach. And so, yeah, it's been a little bit of a push and pull with us to find something that works for my teaching style and works for her as a new reader. So we have tried a lot of things, and I want to talk about our journey a little bit in this video to just give you guys an update about where we're at. I haven't really given much of an update on her reading in the last couple months, and I really and I want to follow up with it because I posted a video months ago about our whole reading journey, and I got just so much support from the YouTube homeschool community. And so, yeah, I like just giving you guys updates on what's going on. So I want to do that. And then I want to talk about a couple slight changes in our language arts plan for third grade. And then I really want to take you guys on a little chit chat about where we are heading in our homeschool for language arts. Okay, so first I want to catch you guys up on where we're at with my second graders reading. For some of you who, or for most of you who probably don't know, we really struggled in the beginning. We unschooled for kindergarten, which was a very conscious decision. I don't necessarily regret it, but it did pose some challenges moving my daughter into first grade and starting her reading journey then. So we tried a lot of programs between the beginning of first grade into about a third of the way into second grade until we really started to land on some materials that really started working. So where we are at right now is the three main phonics things that we're using for her. First and foremost, we are still using Foundational Phonics Book 2. I bought this on a whim after realizing that, and I'll show you the other thing here that we're still using, after realizing that the McGuffey reader was not enough phonics practice for her. We had started using the McGuffies in, I think, October, and we were using them to really encompass all of our language arts. I loved the method so much. I still do. If you're interested in how I kind of created an entire language arts program out of the McGuffey, I will link that video below. But I realized she needed more phonics practice, and I don't even know how I stumbled across this on YouTube. Okay, interrupted, as usual. I don't remember exactly what I was saying. Okay, so I realized, so I don't even know how I found this program. It popped up on my YouTube, and there was really like very few reviews on it, but I was taken by the look of it because it had a McGuffey feel with the stories and the illustrations and stuff. And I thought, okay, well, what is this? Because this kind of feels like the McGuffey, only with more phonics practice. I watched a couple of really compelling reviews on it and decided to go for it. So this is the word mastery. Book 1 is the letter mastery. I have videos on these too. I will link them. I'm not going to go into a whole lot about them right now because I don't want to be too redundant in my content. This is a really fat book. So this is like over 400 pages. I didn't know if we would get through this in second grade because we didn't start it till, gosh, December. But you guys, it is late April and we are on page 282 out of 420 pages. So we are just cruising. We are flying through it. We're 2/3 of the way through. I figured that we will actually finish this by the end of 2nd grade. And I've kind of told my daughter, summer vacation doesn't start until we're done with this book. That's really my goal. So I think it's going to happen. I don't know why this is working so well. I think that maybe it's because each page is just like very minimal with the text. And we do about 4 to 5 pages a day. I could even stretch it to 6. But I'll show you one other thing that we're using in addition to this. It's very light on the copy work, but I do like that it incorporates that. And then it has these, really easy to digest stories. She may even read 2 of these in one lesson. So it's not like she's just reading one small passage. She might be reading a couple. And it's going through all of the phonics rules, all of the phonograms, all of the vowel teams and the consonant blends, everything. And so apparently by the end of the program, and this is like what maybe one of the last, pages is like, so I emailed the creator to ask her what she recommended after this, like where to go from here. And honestly, she said, well, by the time you finish the program, your child will be at a 2nd or 3rd grade reading level. And really after that, the only thing you need is just good books. And I've heard that before. I kind of can't believe that my daughter would be done with phonics instruction at the end of this. She's doing great. I'm just not convinced that she's not going to need some review on a lot of these phonics rules. And I've never really been one to want to bring in like a really intensive phonics program. I was thinking all about reading. I didn't do it. I looked into The Good and the Beautiful. I looked into Logic of English. I just chose not to because this just felt better to us. And I'm just so glad that it worked. But I'm not convinced that I'm not going to need something for 3rd grade. And I'm not really seeing much out there. Like everything is kind of geared towards K through 3. If you guys have any ideas about maybe something that's more all-in-one, I don't want a big program. I don't know. I said in my video for our language arts picks for 3rd grade that I wasn't going to get a program, but I don't know. I just am not convinced that she's going to be totally fluent. So my plan is to do as the woman said and to just continue reading great books next year, but also bring in Explode the Code. This is well below her level, but we're just using it for some spelling practice. We're not using a spelling program this year. And I'm going to bring in books 4 and 5 for 3rd grade, just as some phonics practice. So maybe we'll do this a couple days a week. She is almost done with this. We only have a few pages left. To wrap up this little update on where she's at, our McGuffey readers are still going so well. We are not using this in the way that I had started using it with grammar and copywork and dictation and spelling. We're just using it as a reader. What is it about the McGuffey readers that are so fantastic and just so on point for where she is? I have struggled big time finding readers for my daughter that really match where she's at, and these are perfect. So I only use these once a day with her before bed. She reads a lesson and that's it. So I actually thought that we would be using the first reader into 3rd grade. She's over halfway through this. So this is her reading level right now. So she can easily read, I'd say 95% of this. And we're almost done with this. So I need to get the 2nd reader, which I had no idea that I'd be getting so soon. The these are just, I'm so grateful for the McGuffey readers. I can honestly say that my daughter has learned to read with the McGuffey reader and this foundational phonics. So excited. Okay, so that's the update about where her reading is at. It's going really, really well. I can't believe it. I'm still not convinced that she's going to be at like a 3rd grade reading level by the end of this year. But I'm so excited about where we are. Okay, so now I want to hit a couple of changes that we have made about our language arts plan for 3rd grade. I want to show, we have not changed our main curriculum. So Blossom and Root is going to be our literature choice for, you know, the novels, novel studies, literature projects, narration, copy work. There's some dictation in here, and the geography. We are really like truly going to use as much of this program as we can. We used level 1 Blossom and Root. I skipped level 2 and we did our own novel studies. But I'm really excited to be coming back to Blossom and Root for year 3. So this is a big bulk of our language arts for next year. And then I haven't made any changes on grammar. We're going to be, we have 2 lessons left in here, and then we're going to be starting first language lessons, level 2, next year in 3rd grade. That hasn't changed. We're bringing in Build Your Library, level 1, for some additional books. And we are going to be continuing to use Write by Number. This is a new program for us. I haven't talked about it a whole lot because it's still very new for us, and we are moving through it very slowly, which is what you're meant to do. You're really meant to stay on one stage as long as you need to until it is mastered. So we are on stage 1, just perfecting a topic sentence, and then we'll see where we're at next year. But in terms of this stuff that hasn't changed, I have decided to bring in 2 programs that I'm realizing I need to prioritize a bit more for 3rd grade. So especially since we're not going to be heavy into a phonics program, most likely, I would like to spend 3rd grade really focused on spelling and introduction to writing. So, and obviously building her reading fluency through lots of reading. But spelling we put on the back burner this year because I really needed to just get her reading fluency up. And I was really getting that advice from a lot of seasoned homeschoolers too. I had a lot of pieces for language arts this year, and they were like, set aside the spelling, set aside, you know, even grammar. Don't worry about writing, you know, just get her reading going. And so that's what we did this year, and I'm really glad we did. But now that she is starting to write a little bit with this program, her spelling needs a lot of work for sure. And I think that's really what our main focus needs to be for 3rd grade. So I have not technically chosen a spelling program, but I am trying out next week with her traditional spelling. It's a classical spelling program from Memoria Press. I'll show a picture. This looked really good. I like how it's laid out. It is a 5-day schedule, but I think we're going to bring it down to a 4-day for us. And I like how it's laid out. It is basically scripted for you, which I really like. It starts out nice and gentle, so I can start her really easy, and then we can see where she's at. And I'm sure that we'll, you know, grow from there quickly. Just in terms of like the CVC words and all that. I don't think we'll need to spend much time there. What else do I like about this? I like that there are a lot of there's a lot of additional support. So if you wanted to get the whole bundle, it just comes with a lot of extra practice, some worksheets, and just additional practice on whatever your word list is for that week. It seems very straightforward to me. And I also like that it is very open and go. It doesn't have a lot of pieces. Something else, you know, with like All About Reading that I didn't love was just the pieces, you know, and I think that All About Spelling was similar. I looked into it. I thought about it. this looks a little bit better to me, and I am finding that I'm really connecting more with any kind of more classical language arts curriculum. So I feel good about it. We're going to try it out. I printed out the sample week. If anyone has tried traditional spelling with Memoria Press, let me know. I'd love to know how it worked for you. Okay, so I'm really excited to announce the other addition we're bringing into third grade. All right, I will preface this a bit by saying I was thinking that Write by Number was going to be our main writing curriculum. I definitely think that it could be, but I don't think that with the stage that we're in right now that it's enough practice for her. Like, I can't just keep having her write topic sentence after topic sentence like 3 times a day. I mean, we do it once a day. It's basically a part of our morning basket. But I don't think that that's enough practice. And I don't want to move on to stage 2 necessarily until she's perfected her topic sentences by using more vocabulary and, you know, using more spelling skills. So I'm happy with where we are with this, but I do want to bring in a little bit more writing instruction that is appropriate for where she's at, and that is just kind of more introducing the craft of writing, the craft of storytelling, and bringing in the concept of writing in a very gentle way, and also in the classical way that I have, like I said, been enjoying with a lot of our curriculum. So I found Writing and Rhetoric. I have seen this program several times, and I think it's always been in the back of my mind, but I finally really looked into it, and I honestly think that this might be the total baddie of homeschool curriculum. It seems to me like a perfect program. I love that it is a program that is not geared towards students who are younger than 3rd or 4th grade. That feels a bit more like a Charlotte Mason approach to me, starting writing a little bit later. Love that. So I feel like we're, I don't know, for the first time with language arts, like right on track with something. I've flipped through the whole sample of the first book of Fables, I think it's called. I love how intentional the program feels. It's like, it seems to lay down such a well thought out foundation that is based on this age-old Greek methodology of learning writing and rhetoric. They explain it so well. The way that they are breaking down even what fables are, and myths and folklore, parables, you know, like I learned so much just from reading the sample, but I learned more just reading the sample of Writing and Rhetoric about writing than I have in, say, this so far, or from doing a full year with Blossom and Root, or from doing a full year of first language lessons. It seems so just well thought out, very comprehensive. So it also includes, sorry, my kids are probably noisy in the background. But it also includes dictation. I love how the dictation is laid out. Copy work, reading, which is great. So she's getting more reading practice with it. It has wonderful discussion pieces. It has reading comprehension, which is something I've also been really wanting to like, I just feel more alert to now that she's starting to read more. I really want to make sure that her comprehension is there for what she's reading. You guys, and I love how it is, each level is just built on top of the last. It's, you know, like I said, it's just really well thought out, and it reminds me of how sort of comprehensive and foundational Write by Number is too. It feels like a really strong choice. So I've decided to bring in Writing and Rhetoric Book 1 next year. There is really no writing instruction in Blossom and Root. Blossom and Root really doesn't start any kind of writing instruction until grade 4. And even then, it's super light. Like, it feels feels very almost like unschooly in the way that they approach writing. It's just kind of like, do it in your own way. Here's the super secret notebook that no one is supposed to read unless you want to share. It's cool. I don't have anything against it, but I really do want to bring in some concrete writing instruction. And I don't think that it's going to happen with Blossom and Root, unfortunately. So this, I guess, you know what? This leads me into the last part of what I wanted to talk about with this video. Where are we headed with language arts moving forward? I do tend to be a planner, even though things often change, but I really feel that as we're coming to the end of our third year homeschooling, that I'm really starting to get a feel for what's going to work for my children, well, my daughter anyway, and my son is still too young to tell where we're headed with him. So, yeah, I kind of wanted to think about where we want to go after third grade into fourth, fifth, and sixth as we, get to the end of our upper elementary years. And as far as I can tell, not much is going to change. I did kind of go off the deep end recently. I printed off like 200 or 300 pages of samples of fourth and fifth grade language arts programs that I am considering. And just so I can literally see. It's really hard on a screen to read samples and to kind of gauge how I feel about it. For some reason, it is a lot easier for me to print something off and to read through the sample. So I printed off the samples for Blossom and Root grade 5, only because I'm pretty familiar with grade 4 already, and I wanted to see where Blossom and Root was heading in terms of say writing. I printed off the sample for grade 5 Hearth and Story. I don't know if you guys are too familiar with this. It's a brand new curriculum. I was very wooed by it at first, and printed off the whole sample and have read through that. And then I printed off the third year of Writing and Rhetoric. So it's their third book, Narrative 2. Not third year, I'm sorry. It's book 3. Because I wanted to see kind of where that's headed down the road. And then I printed off the sample of First Language Lessons, level 3, to see if based on the sample, we still felt good about continuing to move forward with first language lessons. But I'm really glad I did this because it really gave me a good look at where I think we're probably headed with language arts. So what I kind of came down to was Blossom and Root. I just there's something about it that I love. It just has this coziness and this whimsy about it. I love the book selections. I've loved the look of their geography. However, I think in terms of our values and priorities, language arts is important to me, and I don't want to treat it too Waldorf or too unschooly. I actually really think that there needs to be some concrete instruction with language arts, and especially with my daughter, just in terms of how she is as a student. She wants to get it done and go do her own thing. So school is not something that she just very warmly welcomes. It really does take more discipline with her. And from what I'm seeing with the upper levels of Blossom and Root, it is far too open-ended. It is really giving the students a lot of freedom, which is awesome, but it's also kind of giving them too much independence in terms of how they're crafting their projects and their essays and stuff, and how they're using this super secret notebook. It's not enough writing instruction at all. On top of that, their grammar is very gentle too. They have taken a very gentle approach with grammar. And so have we. First Language Lessons is incredibly gentle. It's just that we started earlier than Blossom and Root does. So we are going to be just skipping entirely over their grammar. And they incorporate it in their copy work. So I just don't really think, copy work is covered in this as well as we move into level 2. So we don't need the writing portion from Blossom and Root. We don't need the grammar and the copy work. What's ultimately left is the fact that, like, I really like their creative literature projects that bring the books to life. But do we need an entire language arts program just for the book list and the projects? Not totally, because I have chosen novel studies, like for grade 2 that we're in right now. We just chose our own novels and did our own novel studies with, say, Hearth Magic. So I don't think that that's reason enough to bring an entire curriculum. I will say I really do love their wordplay, and I like how gentle they are with their wordplay and with their reading passages. It makes me feel a little bit better that, you know, we kind of took our time with learning to read, and here's a program that clearly respects that. You know, once you get into grade 5, it definitely gets more complicated, but like this looks really good to me. This looks gentle enough. But really what I can come down to with Blossom and Root is that I love their book lists. I think the literature projects, you know, are fun, but are we really going to need them as we get older? And I like their word lists. As it stands now, I'm thinking I'm going to pass. And in terms of literature, maybe choose from their book list if something looks really good, but probably more so choose from the book list with Build Your Library, because I honestly think we'll continue using this for history into all of our coming years of homeschool. Their book list is fantastic for literature and history. So I think ultimately I will probably just choose books from them. And then maybe if I feel like we need a novel guide. Okay, so here's where we kind of get into the other curriculum I was looking at, which is Hearth and Story. Like I said, this is a newer program. I printed out their entire language arts grade 5. And like I was thinking, oh my gosh, an all-in-one would just be so great. What if I could lose, you know, first language lessons and didn't have to do like the whole writing and rhetoric system and Blossom and Root's whole literature guide? What if I could just use Hearth and Story? Okay, well, you guys, I printed this off and I'm sorry, it's just not for me. I was thinking maybe it would be nice to have something that also follows like Common Core standards so that we know that we're, you know, a little bit on track. What are other 3rd graders learning, or 5th graders, or sorry, 5th grade is what this is. I'm sorry, I just think that this program looks so watered down. It is so much busy work. When I compare Hearth and Story to writing and rhetoric and to first language lessons, it just pales in comparison. There is not enough substance to this program. And if you love this program and you're using it, I apologize that that is not what you want to hear from me. So it was easy for me to skip. We won't be using Hearth and Story. I did consider their novel guides because you can just buy individual units from them. But again, I was looking at the sample for one of the grade 4 novel studies. And again, it just feels like busy work. Yes and no questions. So basically, are you reading? Are you paying attention? I just feel like it doesn't go deep enough. And it's not creative enough. It really is just lacking for me. Hi guys, editing Ashley here real quick. So as I'm sitting here editing this video, I just wanted to pop in and I don't know, just not like go back on what I said about Hearth and Story, but I do think it's a little unfair to judge a program based on a sample without us even using it. I mean, I'm sure that there are some pieces to that program that are really, truly great. And again, yeah, if we haven't used it, then I can't totally say how it would work for us, but just based on the sample, I thought that it was a thorough enough sample to show us that that's probably not really, it's not really built in a way that speaks to us. I will say that there is a poetry and art unit that she is coming out with, I think for 4th grade. It's studying poetry through famous works of art. That is such a unique concept, and I think it's definitely something that I will look at for our own homeschool. Okay, so I've already gone on about how I'm just loving the looks of writing and rhetoric big time. I don't even need to like go into this sample that I printed off. I'm going to be doing more videos about writing and rhetoric because I really think it's probably going to be a major part of our language arts moving forward. And then the last sample I printed off was that First Language Lessons Level 3. It's really similar to levels 1 and 2. It continues to be really gentle, which I love. It's built a lot on the classical approach, including memorization. It just has a great foundation. Level just builds on the last really well from what I'm seeing. I like that level 3 brings in a workbook, so she can be a little bit more independent with that. Looks great. I really like the idea of sticking with First Language Lessons. So where does that lead us? I think it leads us to what could be our perfect language arts curriculum now and moving forward, fingers crossed. So just to break it down for you guys, this is essentially what I'm deciding. For grade 3, it will likely be our last year with Blossom and Root. We are bringing in Writing and Rhetoric Book 1 alongside Write by Number. Write by Number goes really great with anything else that you're using because it is just foundation and not a bunch of assignments. It's just learning the foundations of writing that well-crafted topic sentence, first paragraph, and then 5 paragraph within the first several stages. And you can use that approach with anything else you're doing in your homeschool. So Writing and Rhetoric is definitely taking it deeper. It's really looking at story elements, everything that builds, say, a fable or a parable or a myth, and then bringing in a ton of other language arts components in dictation and copy work, reading comprehension, actually reading, things like that. And then we are doing First Language Lessons Book 2. We're bringing in a few books from Build Your Library and some of their copy work. We are sticking with McGuffey and we'll definitely be into the second reader, if not the third reader, for 3rd grade. And then sticking with Explode the Code as long as we need to. I really don't anticipate using this past 3rd grade. But if we need to, then I know it's there and the levels continue going up, and this has really worked for us as a supplement. And then handwriting is just the one thing I didn't go over, but I don't really feel like I need to. We are going to be using a handwriting program, but that's it for grade 3.